yeah, I mean, we ended up packing our bags, going home. Oh, and in the hospital too, some people were even making fun of his name, which I thought was very inappropriate.
Oh,
Not everyone, yeah, and that hurts your feelings as a mom. And so it's like,
wow. The
and I
hospital
know
personnel?
a bunch of nurses that, because nurses change shifts, like they would come through and be like, "Oh, River, is that his real name?" And I'm like, yeah, it's his real name." And they're like,
Oh,
"That's
my
funny." And I
goodness.
was like, and you know what? Everyone gets their own opinion, but maybe not in the 48 hours after you have a baby.
Dear Lord, absolutely not. And you can have your opinion. You don't have to voice it to anybody.
That's right. You're right. And I
Wow.
know it's not an so anyway, we left the hospital, obviously feeling shell shocked, not sleeping. My husband was sleeping, so that's good.
Yeah.
They always can sleep, right?
Yes. Yes.
So we get home and I'm still not sleeping. Like I was like, "Oh, I'll go home. I know what I need. I need my bed. I need my own space." But there had been so much trauma, like from the birth plan not going the way I wanted it to kind of just weird comments and everything. Like there's too much trauma that I was carrying with me.
Yeah.
I didn't sleep for a total of 9 nights.
Oh my God.
I ended up the night of the 8th night something, the 9th. It's kind of a blur, to be honest, still.
Yeah. Yeah.
Very scarily, my family, my mom was there and my husband. My mom was caring for River at the moment, but they had to call an ambulance for me, kind of in the middle of the night because I was just so agitated from not sleeping.
Yeah.
And I knew in that moment, like, I just had a complete breakdown. Like I couldn't really talk. I couldn't eat anymore. I couldn't take care of myself. The only thing I could do, and I don't know how I did it, but I was able to care for my son. River, I was able to breastfeed him and still be present in his life up until that moment. But I was putting everything else completely on the back burner, and it had just come to this huge crescendo where my family knew that I needed to go back to the hospital. I needed professional help to get me to get sleep. And to say that I was scared was such an understatement. I thought I've completely lost control of my life. I am never going to come back from this. How can I even function as a person knowing that I've done this to my son, that I had to leave my 9-day-old son to go to the hospital? I felt like the epitome of the worst mom in the whole universe. And it was so terrifying to have to make that decision. And I'm sure, and I know it was so terrifying for my family as well. But ultimately it was the right decision. It was the right decision to go to the hospital and be assisted with, some pretty heavy duty sleeping aids. And I got the rest that I needed finally. And what's really funny right now is there is a fox that is running right in front of my house that I'm looking at too. So there must be some sort of sign that this story needs to be told again.
Oh, wow. And
I just saw a huge, what's that?
What did you see? What just went in front of you? In front of your house?
A red fox just ran right in front of me.
Oh,
so sorry, I just had to throw that in there because I know that you appreciate that.
Yes. Oh, I love it. Wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So obviously I'm here today and I'm talking and I'm doing much, 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 much better.
Yeah.
but that experience it was one of those moments in your life where you're like, I know I'm not going to be the same after this, but do I know if I'm going to be better or am I going to be worse? You know, I didn't know at the time.
Yeah. Yeah.
And there's so much grief that you can go through, even just as, you know, just as like a new parent, and like thinking like, okay, well, I'm grieving the loss of my past self, my identity as a maiden, you know, now I'm a mother. And then there's like, well, then I just did this whole, you know, I had this mental breakdown, and, you know, I'm grieving the person I was before that mental breakdown, and who am I going to be after? And it's just so confusing. And it took me years to straighten that out.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And you did straighten it out. And I know I saw you not too long ago, and you look beautiful, and your eyes are full of light and shining.
Aww.
And you feel your heart and your soul essence. You are so alive. And I think it's so important for people to know that so many things that you've shared here, Blair, being kind to another person, and especially, my God, how vulnerable. Yes. And when you said, because you're just open, yeah, and you just had a baby. I mean, my goodness, like literally the epitome of being open. We just brought this brand new life into the world. And the words that people use and comments that people make, and it's just so senseless, and how that can complicate a situation absolutely beyond belief. And I am so grateful that you have gone through this entire process, because now River is how old?
He is 5. He's 5.
Yeah, my goodness. So in 5 years, and I know it's been before that, you had major healing. You were on a long journey, and you had major healing. Yeah.
Yep.
And do you feel like you're still on this part? I mean, we're always on a healing journey. We're always bettering ourselves. We're discovering ourselves. We're healing old wounds. So it's not like, oh, this one thing, because it's an accumulation of everything that.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Yeah, we're always healing from something, and growing into the best version of ourselves. But where would you say you're at right now, Blair, as far as your healing journey is concerned, from because the diagnosis was acute postpartum anxiety and PTSD, correct?
Yep, that was correct.
Okay.
And that made sense because, my anxiety just went off the chart, you know, and I had PTSD from, you know, a traumatic miscarriage, or, you know, a miscarriage, and then kind of a traumatic birth experience, if you could call it that. Where I'm at now is, well, I know we're going to talk about this, but I have had a second child, so that says a lot.
Yes, absolutely.
That was not an easy decision to come by. But I think I was just telling my husband before I got on this call with you that I do feel like I have conquered most of this trauma. And it has taken years of therapy, which I found a therapist that I adore. Please don't settle if you don't like your therapist. There are many therapists out there, and there's definitely the right one for you. I look forward to going all the time, so it feels good.
Yeah.
I have assisted myself with acupuncture, like you know. I have assisted myself with journaling, and just, I'm a talker, so I like to talk things out. And actually a big component too has been homeopathy. I really enjoyed using some homeopathy to help mitigate some of that trauma. But I think the only thing that comes up more often than anything else now is how I'm going to explain this to River in the future. Because I still have like a shred of that shame and guilt. And I don't know how. It's not the right time, obviously. But when that time comes, I still need to work through that, how I'm going to explain it to him.
Yeah. And how
Yeah.
beautiful, because you're still working with a therapist, that I would imagine that that's part of going through this. And I always believe that it comes organically too, that the right words at the right time come, and that boy is going to love you as much as he is always
Yeah.
not loving you more for knowing how hard it was on you getting him into this world, and then the whole postpartum part of it too, because I just think that you have beautiful children. Now, I've only been around River twice, so I can't
Mhm.
5. And now your second child, Bowie, who's just phenomenal also. You beautiful children in this beautiful family. And I to me, it just feels like all of the healing is just right there in this heart of the
Oh, thank
four of
you.
you together. Yes. And, I hate this because we're completely out of time here, Blair, and I have to completely wrap this up. So we're going to have to do this
Yeah.
one more time. But I want the listeners to know for sure that no matter how scary it is, no matter, right, because it was traumatic for you, it was horribly
Right.
traumatic for you, but do
Right.
not give up. You keep searching out
No.
help and get the support behind you to get you to where you are right now, beautiful Blair Shackle, living this
Oh,
beautiful
thank
life
you.
with these beautiful babies. Yeah, yeah.
Thank
So,
you.
I'm so grateful. Oh, go ahead. What were
I'm
you going
so grateful too. Yeah, no, I'm so grateful too, and I think I just want to jump, and reiterate what you said. It's like there's always someone there that will help you, no
to?
matter what, and don't be afraid to say whatever is on your mind, because someone else out there is feeling the same way. And if you release those like energetic ties to how you're feeling and ask for help, the universe will catch you and support you. So please, please, please don't give up.
Absolutely, absolutely. And
Mhm.
said from somebody who knows, who has been on one side and out on the other side, and completely different life. And I honor you. I honor your story. I honor where you've been. And thank you so very much.
Thank you so much for having me on.
Oh my gosh, it's been my honor. And I want all of the listeners to know the easiest way to connect with Blair, if you want to talk about Blair's journey or any of her marketing, the easiest way to connect with Blair is how?
Please head over to my website. It is blairshackle.com.
Perfect. And that information will be in the show notes. So don't worry if you weren't able to write that down. It will be in the show notes. And I can attest to Blair's beauty. So thank you so much, Blair. And thank you
Oh,
so
thank
much.
you.
Yes. And please know that there is always help available. And you can come out of this better than ever. And Blair's living example. So love you so much. Thank you.
Amen. I love you too.
Uh, okay. Bye-bye for now.
Thank you for spending time with us today. Please go to nadahogan.com for show notes and other information you can use right away. If you like what you heard here, please subscribe to our show, and don't forget to rate and review right there on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Google Play, or wherever you get your shows. And don't forget to tell your friends about it. We'll see you next week.